All right, we're on page 18 and I have 3 columns and I have 4 rows. But this last row is a lot bigger than all the rest. All right, so we're gonna do a review the top 9 boxes. We're gonna review the last box, the last row will be for the new words. So we're gonna talk about these words already. So what I'm gonna have you do, and you'll get a red check if you can, for the first 3 boxes, you're gonna tell me the angle pairs that we've already talked about in this class. They're on this board and they're also, why is this thing clear? They're also on pages 14 and 17. Okay, so you're telling me the 3 words that we've already done before, and if you get that correct, I'll walk around and give you a red check. So please go ahead and write the first 3 boxes here. There are 3 angle pairs that we've already done. They're also on that board back there, and they're also on pages 14 and 17. All right, so you don't have to have it in the same order. I'm going to start with supplementary, but just keep in mind that yours might not be in the same order. Just make sure once we take the notes that you have them in the correct boxes. Complementary and adjacent. All right, and we're going to leave this the biggest box that you have for the new word. All right, I'm going to zoom in. But again, it's okay if you don't have them in the same order. Just make sure you're cognizant of that and you put them in the right order. All right, so in this next, the box is right next to it. What you're going to put in these boxes is these are the names, and this is what your review and test will be about and warm up will be about, these 3 words. So in these boxes right here, I'm going to have you write, what do you look for? What will you see that lets you know if it's complementary, supplementary, or adjacent? Okay. What will you see for each one of those? Okay, you're going to fill it in here. And I'm going to start with, we're going to start with supplementary. So actually, we're going to start with complementary. So we're going to start with this one right here. What do you see for complementary? I'm going to walk around and give you a yellow check if you have it correct. Right? So right here for complementary, mine's in the second box. If yours is in the first box, and there's something you should see. Remember, geometry is a visual math, so you have to be able to look at it and know right away that if they're complementary or not. There's something you should see that tells you that they're complementary. It won't say the word complementary, but there's something visual there that you'll be able to recognize if they're complementary or not. So if you have that, it'll be an extra credit check. No points are taken off if you don't get the checks, just extra credit. Look for complementary. The visual for complementary is the box. You're going to see a box like this because the box means 90. You're not going to see them right. The sum of the angles is 90. You're not going to see that. Somebody put that they have to be acute. They do, but just because they're acute doesn't necessarily mean they have to add up to 90. Because like, for example, 30 and 30 are acute, or 30 and 40 are acute, but they add up to 70 and not 90. So it's the box. The box will tell you, if you see the box and you see 2 angles coming out of here, that's complementary. Okay, the box. All right, so for complementary, what I'm going to have you write in the last box is what's the sum for complementary. There's a number that goes for complementary, a number you need to know. This is what you need to see. What do you need to know and then do with this number? Okay, so go ahead for the next couple minutes. It's a number, it's on page 14. Complementary is a number you have to memorize for your test. So go ahead and do that, please, for the next box. There's a number here. The sum is always this number. You have to memorize this. The sum is always 90. Always. That's the number you have to memorize for complementary. That's the number you have to memorize for complementary. It's 90. All right, now we're going to do supplementary. Some of you had done that one already. So again, what do you need to see for supplementary? That one's on page 17, okay? What do you need to see for supplementary? Because it's not going to say supplementary. It's not going to say the sum of the angles, blah, 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 blah. It's something you're going to have to see, and it helps you recognize if they're supplementary. So please tell me what's the visual for supplementary. For supplementary, what you're going to see is a half circle. That's the visual. You're going to see a line, and it's going to be the angles on top of the line. That has to be all of them. We have to talk about all of them for it to be supplementary. So if it were to stop like about here, it wouldn't be supplementary. It had to be the entire line, and it had to be all the angles on the line. All right, so for a blue check, you're going to tell me what's the sum for supplementary. You have to remember this number. So for complementary, it's 90. What is it for supplementary? It's also on page 17 and 14. And I'll walk around and give you a blue check for that one. All right, so for supplementary, it's 180 degrees. For adjacent, the only visual, you're not going to see them look the same every single time. They're just side by side. And there's nothing for the number, okay? So those are right now the first 3 words. Your test number 5 is going to be over those words.